right. Off and running.
Okay. Begin?
Yeah.
Let's start. Good morning, and how you doing? This is JC Morales, joined by Danny Money in West 4th Park, Manhattan, New York.
What's up, man? It's Danny Money checking in. We're here at West 4th Street in Greenwich Village, Manhattan. We have NYC for a backyard. What more can you ask for, JC?
Nothing. I hope it doesn't rain because we forgot our umbrella.
It's all right. We got the Befit banner behind us, so we'll use that as a canopy.
Yeah, well, that's good thinking. I am actually very, very, very excited. I know I always say this in every podcast, but I'm excited to be here. You know, we're at West 4th. It's an iconic park in New York City. We talked about it in our previous podcasts. And it's a different view, a different perspective. It's refreshing because we're here really early. It's barely 8:30 in the morning, and we're seeing New Yorkers, up and about, going to work, walking fast, doing what they have to do, and looking at it from here is refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that turns me on more than seeing people with ambition. And when you come to Manhattan, that's one of the first things you notice is that people here they're ambitious.
Right.
Basically, what you see out here is people, they have a destination and they've made a decision to get to that destination.
Yeah, right. I think over here in Manhattan is one of the places in the world where you really see and you can actually pinpoint the people who have tunnel vision. Because no matter who you are or where you're from, you see these people just focused, looking one direction. And in their mind, it's just a destination. Just got to get there. Got to get to work. Got to get to the boyfriend's house, the girlfriend's house. Got to get to the party. Just go, go, go.
And as JC mentioned, we are here at West 4th Street on the basketball side, on the court that only has, I guess, half a court of basketball.
Yeah, I do want to mention, this is off topic, but I am a little saddened to feel that the summer is about to be over. You know, here in New York, we have long winters, cold days. It's good. I like the variety, but I do enjoy the summer. And this one just flew by us.
It did fly by, but I mean, you know, I'm good with the cool off because this summer, our listeners may not know, but I went the entire summer without having an air conditioner in my room. The first time in my 28 years of existence here in New York City that I spent the summertime without air conditioning. And you know, I've spent many sweatier nights with a fan in my room. And I'm actually kind of happy that it's cooling down, just a smidge.
No, yeah, it is. For those who don't know, for a very long part of my life, I never had an AC, and it could be brutal at night. It could be brutal at night.
Oh yeah, a lot of sweaty nights. But also, you know, with handball, I like it also because yesterday was the first time I played in about 3 weeks because I was nursing, you know, a hip flexor injury and an injury to my elbow. I mean, it's small injuries, but nonetheless, I was nursing them and I wasn't playing as often. But yesterday was kind of cool. I came out around 5 p.m. It was nice and brisk outside. I wasn't sweating as much. The volleys were intense, and I had a great time. So I think that, you know, the cooling down of the weather is a plus for handball.
Yeah, and also just to mention, for those of you who live in New York City or have been here, you know, for the most part, New York City summers are brutal. 90 degrees Fahrenheit plus, humidity like crazy. But this summer's been actually really, really satisfying. It's been refreshing. It's been hot days, but at the same time we've had, you know, really pleasant weather. And I think we earned it from that brutal winter we just came out of.
Man, don't even remind me of that last winter. That last winter kicked my ass.
But that's why I don't want the winter to come back.
Right.
That shit is crazy.
Yes.
I've never seen snow like that.
Yeah, the snow, that was a small part of it. The snow, I mean,
a small part of it. Fucking small. That shit was, bro.
I mean, to me, it wasn't that, you know, I just climb over it. But more than anything, it was the winds. I remember coming out, it was 15 degrees, and the wind chill factor would put it in the negatives. It felt like it was -5 degrees.
Insanity.
On top of the mountains of snow and the mountains of ice that we had to endure, you know, walking to the gym and walking to and from the gym and walking to and from the supermarkets. And
I was working at the time for a private company, and I had to dig out my car, and in shoes and pants, you know, in corporate attire, and that shit was not fun. I'm not looking forward to that, although, you know, I'm in a different situation now.
Smash! But
yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that. Thank you for sharing.
Befit Radio.
I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of today, literally, because today we'll be talking about something very, very specific, and it's a big topic, and a lot of people are asking questions, and we're going to give our perspective and our theories and our opinions on food.
You know where's Caroline? Speaking of Caroline?
Nah, I'm not from around here.
Goes to show, man, we're out here.
Yeah. I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of the subject for today, literally, because today we'll be talking about food, nutrition, and how it affects our lives and our goals, ultimately.
Meat and potatoes actually taste very good, and it goes very well for a post-workout meal.
Right.
I enjoy a lot of meat and potatoes.
Right.
So let's get into it.
Smash, smash, smash.
Befit Radio.
Food is always a tough subject to touch upon as it is deeply rooted in our culture. In other words, your methods, your views, and how you see food and use it pretty much comes down to how you were brought up. Like me, for example, and Danny, we're Latin American descent. So growing up, good food, which meant real food, was rice and beans, potatoes from here to West Africa, corn, all types of plantains, little meat, little fish, and again, rice, and potatoes.
Right.
And that was real food. And I grew up thinking that, that was the best food to consume. Also, I grew up drinking Coca-Cola with every meal. Also, milkshakes with sugar, fruit juice with sugar. Really just a diet high in carbs and high in sugar and high in fat.
Yep.
And that's how I grew up eating, and that's what was fed to us by our parents. That's what we were taught how to eat.
To our listeners out there, many of them can relate to us because there is a high number of people of Latin American descent that live here in New York City. But for the people that may not be able to relate to us, what Juan was talking about was a diet that we're accustomed to that's extremely high in carbs and not that sufficient in protein. What do I mean by this? High in carbs with things, just as Juan mentioned, the portions of rice are just huge. a little too much, and the portions of corn, which you may or may not know, our body doesn't really process, doesn't really have any nutritional value.
Yeah. Just fills you up for nothing.
It just fills you up. A lot of the dishes have sides of beans, or they go hand in hand with the rice, and beans are a form of legumes which irritate the digestive system. So that's why a lot of people, they may joke around about eating Latin American food with the beans, the beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. There is some truth into that, because it does irritate your digestive system, and it does send everything all haywire in your stomach.
Pretty much, go to a Colombian restaurant, look at the menu, and that's what we ate growing up. With the variation of arepas and tortillas, depending on what part of Latin America you're from.
And a lot of cheese.
Oh, cheese, up the wazoo.
Cheese and a lot of fried dishes, a lot of fried plantains, whether they're sweet or if they're green. I mean, we'll find a way to fry it.
No, really. And for some reason, this fried food for us is like, it's the food to have. We love fried shit. Yeah. But this food topic, again, it's hard to discuss with a lot of people, because food is something very, very personal.
It is.
It's very personal. So in order to reach certain goals, health-wise and fitness-wise, you have to really take a look at what you're eating, how you're eating it, and what it is doing to you.
Right, you have to take an unbiased approach to how your diet is, because if not, you're only cheating yourself. If you want to continue eating stuff that's high in carbs, stuff that's high in sugars. I mean, a lot of my family is diabetic. They do have high blood pressure, and a lot of it's attributed to their lack of focus on good nutrition.
Right.
Ultimately.
Right. And we can get a little boring here and say, well, Latin American diet's high in carbs. You can find a socioeconomic reason for it. Little meat, lots of carbs fill you up. Meat's expensive, rice is cheap, corn is cheap, right? But whatever, keep that to the side. I come across a lot of people that ask me, they want to venture into regular exercise to improve their health and quality of life. and they ask these two questions. And Danny, you've come across that at the gymnasium as well. Hey, what diet should I go on? And how soon do you think I can lose 40 pounds with mild exercise and the diet you recommend?
It's like a broken record sometimes.
Yeah, like listen, man. First of all, we're not dietitians, doctors, medical experts, or physical or personal trainers.
By no means.
But I'll tell you what I did when I wanted to make that change in my life. I researched information pertaining to the nutritional value of the food that I consume and how it affects my life. That was the first step. Really, unbiased, like Danny just said. Really look at what you're eating, do the research, and see what it is doing to you.
Cha-ching.
Second, based on the information that I found out, I drew a conclusion. And I looked at what could be changed or modified in my diet.
Right.
The third step is something that has to be done if you haven't done it already, which is you have to go get a tune-up. Go to the doctor, get your levels checked, make sure your numbers are legit. And then from there, you can set your physical goals and develop a nutritional plan that will help you get to where you want to be physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. But you see, that's easy to say, and it sounds beautiful, and it's not unachievable either. But most people don't want to hear that. Let's be honest. Most people want to find a freaking shortcut. Exactly. They're not willing to do the legwork.
Right. And that's what I did about 2 years ago. Was I got myself thoroughly checked out. I got my blood work, saw where my blood pressure was, saw where my sugar levels were, saw where my triglyceride levels were.
What triglyceride?
Before I embarked on a change of my diet, so that I wouldn't shock my body completely, right. Just to see where I am. So after I established that and established that everything was fine, that I was healthy, that's when I took the other approach to change up my diet, because I was going to the gym. I'd say about 2 to 3 times a week, but I was drinking alcohol like crazy. I was eating whatever I wanted. I didn't pay attention to diet whatsoever. So I said, hey, keep on doing the same thing. You get the same results, but you expect something else different. That's a form of insanity. So I had to change something. Right? So once I got as I said before, once I got my blood levels checked, then I went into changing my diet. And one of the most effective ways, One of the most effective diets for me was a loose form of the Paleolithic diet, which is quoted as the caveman diet.
Yeah.
And I saw tremendous results with that. I mean, it's no quick fix, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of dedication and a lot of discipline to follow this diet, but that's one of the approaches that I took, because it was something completely different than what I was used to. I mean, the paleo diet said you got to eliminate all carbs. Not all of them, but what I mean by carbs is all of the bad carbs, things like rice, things like bread, even if it's wheat. Eliminate all grains. And I've been eating this stuff my entire life, so to me it was kind of chaotic and strange.
It's a huge shock to me.
But it was something different. So I said, hey, let me try out something different, because the old way wasn't working. Let me try this out, and I haven't looked back since. I mean, now I kind of eat what I want. To a smaller degree compared to before. Nonetheless, I made the change though.
And that's where you saw the difference. But making the change is probably one of the most difficult decisions you're going to make. Right. Deciding what change to make. Because you can go online and see a whole bunch of information. Dieting and theories and methods and views on food. Just like exercise, there's millions of them. You'll go online and you'll be drowned in different methods and ideas and theories.
Right, and the reason why I went into the Paleolithic diet is because I got this information from our good friend Beto, who has some digestive issues as well. So he told me, hey, you should try out this paleo diet, because it's supposed to be, it's supposed to mimic what humans ate about 10,000 years ago, before the agricultural revolution, which a lot of health issues are attributed to now. Yeah. With things such as eating grains, such as eating breads, processed stuff. That's all recent things that have happened in the last 10,000 years with the agricultural revolution.
Milk and all that crap.
Milk and dairy.
Yeah, dairy.
Exactly.
A lot of people just get turned off when they start researching or reading about how to change up their diets and the way they consume food, and they end up finding or settling for a shortcut. And they go on Google and they'll type up best diet to lose weight. Quick diet for weight loss. How to get shredded in 7 days. Safest pill for weight loss. How much is a tummy tuck? How much is a tummy tuck and a nose job? How much is a tummy tuck, a nose job, and a J-Lo ass? You got a triple play package? You know, shy away from that. Because I guarantee you, there is no shortcut. Even surgery is by no means a shortcut. That's why the hardest, out of all the options you're gonna get, that is probably the hardest and the least effective, because you may look different after surgery 3 months later when your swelling comes down, right? But if you don't fix the problem, which is how you eat and how you live your life, then you're gonna go right back to the way you were before. Well, you're gonna have plastic surgery, lipo, and these major surgeries every 6 months.
Befit Radio.
Yeah, that's the thing is people don't realize that when you get these things, you need maintenance. It's not just a one fix, a one-shot deal where you get the surgery and then that's it. You don't have to worry about what you eat, or maintaining a physique. It's just delusional goals.
It really is delusional because let's be honest here, right? You've had a goal, you want to look a certain way, feel a certain way. You've tried different options and you haven't been able to do it. So the last option you have that you think you have is going for plastic surgery. The doctor tells you, listen, after this, you're going to have to start doing all the things that you've been failing at doing. Right. Hence the reason you're here. And then you're going to think that really, just because you got surgery, then, I don't know where, you're going to find the discipline and the commitment, out of the blue. It's going to come to you.
Out of nowhere, you're just going to be disciplined all of a sudden because you got some surgery.
Like you're the Virgin Mary. Out of nowhere, you got pregnant.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Like, who you kidding over here, man? You're talking to a couple of New Yorkers, eh?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Don't work like that.
It is of extreme importance to really take an unbiased approach to what you're eating. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to eat or what not to eat because that's very personal. Like we said earlier, it's very personal depending on where you're from. Some of the cultures in your country, some of the backgrounds. Some people can't eat this, some people can't eat that. And Danny and I, we've put together a beautiful, very helpful list of tips that we want to share with you.
Yes.
And
the JC and Danny Money must-haves. You must have these things in order to be successful at your diet.
Must-haves and must-nots. You'll get it as we say it. Danny, please start with you.
Well, these are my top 5 musts that you must have in order to be successful at dieting and at progressing in fitness. Number 1, hands down. Let's start off positive. Number 1 is water, H2O. Many people neglect this, although we're mostly composed of it. In NYC, there's an abundance of clean drinking water. An abundance. To people around the world, it's as valuable as diamonds are to us.
Right.
Just clean drinking water. That's number 1. Must have. Drink water. Water. You can't run away from it. Stop it with the sugar drinks. Stop it with the alcohol. You can have those things occasionally, but you need water. I cannot stress that enough.
You're more thirsty than you think.
Exactly. Number 2 is protein. The must-have number 2 is protein. The building block of our strength and ultimately our brain capacity.
It's very, very important to eat enough protein, but not overeat protein, because your body's not gonna use the protein that you don't need. It's just not gonna use it. It's gonna discard it. And I see people everywhere at the gym all the time putting 3-4 scoops of protein into the pre-workout or post-workout shake, as if all that protein is what they need.
It's gonna magically give you muscles.
Right.
Magically get you fit.
Exactly. There's no magic powder either. There's no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
Befit Radio.
Try to be reasonable in the way you consume protein. That's all I'm saying.
Number 3 on the Danny Money list is oxygen. Open your mouth to breathe more. Breathe properly. Properly when you're running, when you're sprinting, when you're weightlifting, when you're squatting. Breathe evenly as every step that you take.
Rhythm, pattern.
You develop a rhythm as you're running. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. It's very simple.
Then you want to run.
When you're sprinting as well, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. It might be a little bit more violent because that's what sprinting is. It's an all-out thrust of running. But nonetheless, do not hold your breath while you're sprinting because most likely you'll pass out.
I have that effect on a lot of people that hold their breath.
Breathing-
No, that's not true. Hold on. I take their breath because if I hold their breath, that means that I stink, and I don't stink. I promise you.
Hey, cue the round of applause, please. Thanks. Hey, DJ.
Sorry about that, Danny. Continue.
But breathing is also very important when it comes to weightlifting. When you're coming down, you inhale. When you're thrusting or pushing forward, you exhale. I mean, these are basic things that just discussing with people, they have some issues with. Look into your breathing before you get into any physical activity.
Right.
That's number 3. Now we're up to number 4.
I just want to give a pointer on number 3, and this is crucial to life. We're talking about food, exercise, but we're talking about things that are huge to exist and to continue to exist in life. One of them is food. Without food, you can't live. There's no way you can live without food.
There's no way around that.
Now, Danny's touching upon breathing and how important that is. You can't live without breathing either.
Just cannot.
And life cannot continue without sex.
Smash, smash,
Breathing is very important.
smash.
A lot of people are having problems in sex because they don't last long enough, because they're they're fucking like rabbits. But maybe if you can take into consideration your breathing aspect while you're having sexual intercourse, maybe that can help you out.
Smash,
Check it out,
smash,
control your breathing,
smash.
and that's it. That's tip number 3.
The more oxygen you inhale, the more blood is pumped throughout your body. And, being a male, you need a lot of blood to be pumped in a certain region for sexual intercourse.
And being a female, the more blood that circulates and is pumped down there, the better the orgasms.
not to come off as sex therapists.
No. I'm just saying, like, breathe more when you're having sex. Maybe that'll get you from 3 minutes to 4 minutes.
Exactly.
Smash.
Progress. Work in progress.
Right.
To get back to the list, number 4. Number 4 is carbohydrates. Yes, the evil word carbs. It's the evil word that so-called fitness people mislead their clients with.
Right.
It's not bad for you.
No.
You just have to make the better decision as to which carbs you're eating, which carbs you're consuming. Rather than having the Italian white bread, on the side of a dish or the side of your dinner plate, choose sweet potato instead. It's a more effective carbohydrate to eat. It's something that's been included in our diet for hundreds of thousands of years. Our bodies can process it better. It's overall a better alternative to eating just rice or Italian bread. JC?
You've touched upon some amazing stuff. I'll tell you why. Because
Smash.
I understand that Italian bread goes with Italian food. But does it have to?
No.
If you're making an Italian dish, do you have to put the bread there?
No.
You don't have to.
Not to.
So get it out of your head that if you don't put the Italian bread, you're not having an authentic Italian dish. That's all I'm saying. Just because people do it that way doesn't mean you have to do it that way.
Exactly. What it comes down to is making decisions.
Your decision.
Sometimes we make poor decisions. We make poor decisions all the time. Anything that we do in our life is a decision, whether ranging from what socks we wear, whether we want to go to work that day, whether we want to brush our teeth this particular morning or hop in the shower, whether we wash our hair, whether we don't wash our hair, whether we cut our nails, whether we don't cut them. You have to make decisions. Make the better one. Go with the sweet potato instead of the Italian bread. Nothing against Italians. I love Italians. Hey, mamma mia.
Too big fucking wretch. And I gotta say, not for nothing, but Befit Radio loves sweet potato.
Sweet potatoes. And number 5, you have to make time. You gotta make the time. We all have 24 hours in a day. It don't matter if you're a billionaire or if you're a homeless person. We have the same amount of time throughout the day. It depends on how you spend that time. It depends on how you break up your minutes, how you break up your hours. We all have 24 hours in a day. And in those 24 hours, you have to make sacrifices, whether it's sacrificing sleep, whether it's sacrificing sex, whether it's sacrificing, watching a TV show. It depends on what your goals are.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if you want to take time out to diet, if you want to take time out to go to the gym, you have to make time for it.
Absolutely. And just to tie it in with what we're talking about here, you have to make time to eat properly. You have to make time to eat properly, and that means, you have to think it through. You have to drink enough water while you're eating. You have to give yourself enough time to digest your food properly. You don't want to eat a fucking 3 pounds of chicken and 20 minutes later go for a sprint. Unless you're going for a sprint to the telephone or the cell phone store. You don't want to exert yourself after 20 minutes after eating a big meal. So you have to be able to make these decisions to plan out what you're doing so that it doesn't interfere or it doesn't cause more harm than good.
Right. That's where time is huge. If I know that I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow or go heavy on my weightlifting for the next 3 days, then I'm going to set aside about 7 to 8 pounds of chicken breast, and I'm going to set aside about 20 minutes to prepare that chicken breast.
Right.
Just 20 minutes of my time, as opposed to not preparing, doing a workout, have the potential of losing my gains because I don't have the adequate amount of protein or the adequate amount of food to rebuild my muscles. Then I have to break my bank. Then I have to go to a store, buy some kind of processed food. I don't know what they put in it. I don't know if they're putting, a high amount of salt in this, or I don't know if they're putting some kind of weird preservative in it. I don't know what's going inside of what I'm consuming.
Right.
Instead, I could just take away, like I said before, those 20 minutes, set aside some time to prepare my meals because I'm investing in my health. It's not an actual investment in your money. It's an investment in your time because time is a commodity as well.
No, time is the only thing we have a limit of.
Don't waste my time. Don't waste my money.
Man, you can waste money. You can waste money all you want because money comes and goes. But the time you have, you can never, ever get it back.
That's why it's on the top 5 list. So just to go down the list again, Danny Money's top 5 must-haves. You must have water, must have protein, must have oxygen, must have carbohydrates, and you must have time. Those are the Danny Money 5 musts.
I love the Danny Money top 5. They are spot on, right on the money.
Danny Money.
Danny Money.
Thanks, JC.
I took the time out last night to put my thoughts together. But what happens is I have like a personality disorder. I have like mad personalities. My girlfriend could attest to that.
I think that's positive.
Yeah, I think it's a positive. It's a positive disorder. And so while I was making it, my alter ego took over, and here's the JC alter ego tips. Do not drink super hyper mega filled sugar carbonated water poison.
Holy shit.
What does that mean, Danny? That means throw flavored soda away for the rest of your life. That's what I did. I do not drink soda. Sugar water. Give me your thoughts on that.
Sugar water is the devil. If I was a religious person, that's how I would phrase it.
It is.
It is the devil. I used to love drinking soda. I used to love it. I had an addiction to it. I couldn't wait to get my hands on a bottle of soda, a 20 ounce, nice, cold and crisp. Especially eating a slice of pizza. I used to love it.
I couldn't eat in my family. We couldn't eat any meal without a glass of soda, as if it was just as important as water.
And I wouldn't drink it unless it was cold. It had to be cold. If it was warm, forget it. I didn't want it. Get it out of here. I'd rather go thirsty, not drink any water, unless I had my cold, brisk Coca-Cola.
I used to play handball, Danny. You're a witness to this. I used to be a very heavy smoker. I come from a family, my maternal family. They're huge smokers.
Smoking that weed?
No, smoking cigarettes.
Okay.
And I grew up around that, and I became a smoker at the tender age of 14. I moved out of my house around when I was 15. So, I didn't have a lot of money growing up, especially during those developing years.
Little 15. Man in a big city.
Yeah. Literally little man, because I was like 5'1" then. And so I used to survive drinking. I would play handball. I would do, I've always been physically active, but I would drink a 2-liter bottle of soda a day.
Damn.
And smoke 1 pack of cigarettes a day.
Woo, man.
All right? Didn't matter if it was hot or cold. If it was rainy or dry, that's what I did.
Yeah, I was witness to that. I would sometimes be flabbergasted and baffled. I would be thrown back. I was like, man, does he get thirsty? Like, what's the deal with him? How does he process so much sugar? How does he process all that tobacco smoke? After playing intense games of handball, I mean, we'd be playing about, I'd say about 15 games a day on average. You know, Monday through Friday. Dead in the middle of summer. You know, mid-July, mid-June, just playing. You know, from 9 a.m. till about 8 p.m. We'd take a little break and then go to night courts.
All over the city.
All over the city. But along with our travels was a 2-liter of Pepsi and a pack of Newports.
It's insanity.
Standard-ish.
So I threw soda out the window. And listen, I became addicted to the carbonation. Carbonate or what? And what I did is I made a substitution. I substituted flavored soda for seltzer water. And that did it for me. That did the trick. And I don't drink soda, and I'm free of it for years now. And I've never felt better.
And that's an example of the small changes that you can make in adjusting whatever it is that you have an addiction towards.
Right.
I mean, JC touched up on it. He's kicked his addiction to sugar drinks, and he's kicked his addiction to cigarettes, which are they're probably two of the leading causes of heart disease in the United States, and that's one of the leading preventable deaths in the United States.
And we'll talk more about how I quit smoking cigarettes, but I got to tell you, that's one of the hardest things I've done, and I say that confidently. And I've done a lot of hard things, but that's very difficult to do.
So, if you have any questions, or if you need someone to speak to or to reach out to us at befitradio.com or Befit Radio on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Leave us some comments on Facebook. Let us know what you're thinking, what your thought process is, and maybe we can help with some of the troubles you're having with your addiction.
That's beautiful, Daniel. I completely agree. I have no problem spending some of my time trying to help people out there who are trying to kick this disgusting habit of smoking or change and better their life. This is why Danny and I are doing this right now.
We want to engage everyone. We want to engage the community. We want to engage different neighborhoods in New York City. That's why we do these podcasts in different neighborhoods throughout the boroughs.
Yeah, and then eventually we'll do it in different cities, different countries, and make it fun and make it beautiful. But let's go back to my alter egos list. Tip number 2. Erase from your memory the existence of all fast food. Fast food is the equivalent of an atomic lard bomb.
Yes.
You eat it and you will blow up.
I feel like the Cold War has been reignited, man. Are you part of KGB? What's going on over here?
I think in a previous life, I must have been Russian.
Yeah, I think it's just growing up in Briarwood.
Yeah. No, but listen, that was self-explanatory. Like, really. Fast food and McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and all this crap. Drive through middle America or turn on the TV and look at this show called Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. And what I just said is a fact. Stay away from that. Stay away from that. When's the last time I ate fast food? It must have been 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
I used to be hooked on fast food.
Yeah.
Especially during my college years. That's all I used to eat. I mean, I would pig out on $1 menus up the wazoo. I'd hit up McDonald's, Wendy's, like you said, Taco Bell, and just anything on $1 menu. I'd spend about $10 to $11 just on shit, just on shit food.
Garbage. It's a trick. They're tricking us, guys. I mean, everybody out there, they're tricking us. They make it cheap because it's garbage. Because no one gives anything good cheap. It's fucking garbage. You don't need to eat it. It all comes back to what Danny, one of his tips, make the time. Don't fall victim of the fast food multi-billion-dollar business. Make the time, budget your money, do what you need to do, and eat what you have to eat the right way.
What I find interesting is that they call it fast food, but you get slow results when it comes to fitness. I mean, there is nothing fast about it. Yeah, they make it in 1, 2, 3 right in front of you. Right. You're in and you're out. But I mean, the long-term effects of eating this fast food is not worth it. It's a bad investment. Bad investment.
Fast food, that may be right. But you keep eating it, and it'll be fast on the track to death.
Yeah, fast track to fucking heart disease, fast track to an unhealthy lifestyle. I mean, it's evident. You see it every day. It's not like we're talking, stuff that's out of this planet or out of this world. Hop on a subway, walk around anywhere in America, and you'll see this epidemic of people that are addicted, they're hooked to fast food, and it's noticeable, on their bodies.
Right.
Don't mean to judge, but I mean, you are what you eat ultimately.
You are what you eat. You definitely are what you eat. You definitely are what you eat, Danny. Let's go to the next tip.
Next tip.
This is my alter ego, remember. Unless you hunt for your meat, fish for your seafood, and farm, remember that you're buying food from someone whose priority is to make a profit. Whose priority is to make a profit and not your health. Self-explanatory again. Remember, the people that you're buying food from, their priority is to make a profit. They're running a business. When you're running a business, I've been on the business side of the world. I just came out of a corporate job. People do crazy things to make money.
Oh yeah.
And in spite of if it's good for their clients or bad for their clients, the bottom line is the bottom line. You got to make some fucking money. So what I'm trying to say here is try to make an effort to look into what you're eating. Try to find out where it's coming from. And please do yourself a favor. Stay away from processed food.
Stay away from it.
If the shit sounds, if you look at the nutrition, the labels, and in the ingredients portion, it sounds like a chemistry, physics syllabus. It's not going to be good for you.
When you're gonna buy a new car, when you're gonna date a new person, you investigate before anything.
Right.
I mean, you don't go into buying a car or going into a relationship blindfolded.
No.
I mean, that's why you go on dates is to get to better get to know the person, to know some of their habits, to know what they're about. Before you buy a car, you want to know how much mileage it has, some of the wear and tear. How are the tires doing? How are the brakes doing? How is the transmission? You investigate. So why should that be any different with your health and what you consume and what you eat? It shouldn't.
Right. Definitely.
You should investigate what the hell you're putting into your body. Because just like a relationship, just like a car, it's an investment into your health. Those are tools to getting you where you got to go.
And I know that it's in some of our cultures just to go anywhere and just order some shit and just eat it, just whatever. It looks good, you just put it in your mouth and eat it. It doesn't have to be that way. I break that trend. Now I've become very picky. Like I don't eat out. I just don't trust it. I don't feel well. I eat home cooked meals every single day. And let's say that one time out of the month I go out and have a dinner at a restaurant. My body feels a difference immediately.
Exactly.
I start getting bubble guts. I start feeling nauseated. Just not what I don't trust it.
And you know why? Because they probably put stuff in there that's foreign to your body, that you're just not used to, and ultimately that the body's just rejecting because it probably isn't good for you.
Right.
Some of the stuff that they're adding.
And you don't know how they're cooking it.
I don't like to applaud city laws too much. I feel like we should have more liberties. However, I do like that they implemented this Department of Health grade system that they have, that they've incorporated throughout New York City. I know they borrowed it from LA. Yeah. LA was on the frontier of doing that.
Shout out to LA and California.
Shout out to LA and Leo and Eric Boyce out there if you're listening, doing big things out there.
We're gonna visit you guys, do a podcast, and have you in there.
We'll see you soon. But I'm happy that they've done it because it does make me think twice. If I on the small occasions that I do eat out, which I rarely do, maybe once a month.
Yeah.
As JC had mentioned.
I think even less than that.
Maybe even less than that. The most I drink outside is a black cup of coffee. That's about it. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that, unless you're in a roach-infested deli or something like that.
Yeah.
I've encountered a couple of those, but it makes me think twice as to how sanitary a place is. If I see a C grade, it's gonna turn me off immediately. I'm gonna say, man, this place is filled with roaches, filled with rats and mice and all kinds of nasty stuff that I just don't want on my food.
Right.
So I'm glad they implemented that.
No, that's great. I agree too, because it gives us some peace of mind. At least someone's been there. They have a fucking checklist. They went to the temperatures, to the cleanliness, and it just gives you that peace of mind that I'm gonna spend some money there, and at least I'm gonna have some sort of standard product. Back to the list. Here's my next tip. Quit being a little bitch when given the opportunity to try new food. Listen, food is very personal to us. And a lot of people are very, they get grossed out by a lot of things. And I don't eat fish, and I don't eat that, and I don't eat this, and that looks gross, and that looks nasty, and it smells like this, and it smells like that. Keep an open mind, man. If you find and you research something that looks like it could benefit you, and you come across the opportunity to try it out, maybe implement it on your nutritional plan, and give it a fucking shot. What's the worst that can happen? It's only fucking food.
Yeah, man, just give it a shot.
And the last one is getting high like the sky is pretty cool, right? Yeah, but control your fucking Macias, man. That's huge.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna go too much into my personal life, but
That's how you know when someone's confessing some shit.
I won't go too much into my personal life. But when I do get the munchies, man, it is very difficult to control them sometimes.
But please share with everybody how you do it, because you do control them. You've set a system so that you don't fall into the temptation.
I mean, again, just a disclaimer, not to go too much into my personal life, but when I want to delve into my recreational activities, I occasionally get the munchies. But before I delve into this recreational activity,
You said that so well, bro. It's beautiful.
I like to plan it out a little bit, because I know my state of mind is going to be elsewhere. So I may set aside, if I am grilling my 2 pounds of chicken post-workout, maybe I'll set aside about a quarter pound or half a pound of other chicken, and maybe half a sweet potato, for my munchies. But I've also reached the point where if I want to have a piece of pound cake, I could do that as well. If I want to pig out on some apple turnovers or some apple crumb cake, with some powdered sugar on top,
right,
with coffee and milk, I could do that as well now. But back when I was getting into my dieting and shedding the fat, I was extremely strict when it came to my munchies. I chose things that were lean, lean steak, lean chicken, sweet potato, broccoli. When you're delving into these recreational activities, everything tastes good. So
yeah,
just make healthy choices. Just make the better decision when it comes to your munchies.
I love that we're talking about this, because it just comes to show you that, listen, we're human beings, right? And we like to have fun, and we like to do things. Everybody has their vices. But when you take the time out to prioritize it and know that, well, the more important thing in my life is my health, and I have certain goals that I want to reach, but I also want to have some fun, but I'm going to plan it out the right way. You're able to have some fun, able to maintain your structure, and it's a win-win situation, because you can't all be work. That's how you burn yourself out.
Right.
And it all can't be smoke, because you burn yourself out. Right.
Smash, smash, smash.
Befit Radio.
One last thing that I do want to mention, and Danny and I coincide because we did it around the same time, is we realize that alcohol consumption has to be kept at a level of control that it is very difficult to do so for many people.
Right.
Because just like other substances, when you are abusing alcohol, you're definitely abusing other things. You're probably smoking a lot more, you're probably eating a lot more, your inhibitions and your guards down completely, and it really screws up everything. So I would suggest and recommend to try to take control over how you consume alcohol. To me, alcohol was a detrimental part of my life.
To take a positive spin on our consumption of alcohol, well, I don't want to put any words in JC's mouth, but I'll speak for myself.
Yeah, don't put anything in my mouth.
I was addicted to alcohol. I used to love the feeling of getting tipsy. I used to love drinking all kinds of exotic beers, all kinds of microbreweries, different types of whiskey, different types of vodka, tequilas. Just any kind of alcohol, anything that got me tipsy or wrecked. I used to enjoy it, whether it was wine, anything that was fermented and produced some kind of alcohol and altered my reality. I used to really enjoy it, and I know a lot of people out there enjoy alcohol as well. And we're not saying don't do it.
No, of course not.
But it did overtake my life, and it took a road that that I didn't want to be on. But I came to realization that it was a negative, and what I did was just learn from my mistakes. But that's all I could do. I mean, there was two things that I could have done about a year ago. I could have I could have continued the trend of drinking insane amounts of alcohol. I'm talking about 6 to 8 beers, strong beers a day, minimum, on weekdays, and on weekends drinking about anywhere from 10 to 15 beers with hard liquor on top of that. I could have continued that trend, continued down that road, or just make a change. We're not telling you not to drink. What we're saying is to do it, to find that balance, right, to do it in moderation. And it's a little bit more difficult, but again, we have social media. We have these outlets where if you want to talk to us or ask us some questions, ask us on Instagram, which is Befit Radio _. Ask us on Facebook. Send us a message. It could be private.
Befit Radio.
Just like Daniel, because again, I've said this before, we've been friends for a long time, and we spend a lot of time. We shared these drunken moments together. In my life, it was also I realized it was a handicap. It made me. What I thought that drinking would make me happier, it did for a real small amount of time while I was tipsy. But then everything afterwards didn't make me happy. The next day I was miserable, like literally miserable. I couldn't believe how miserable I felt, and I couldn't believe I've been doing that, repeating that cycle on a daily basis for the past I don't know how many years. And Danny said it perfectly. It was negative. We helped each other out. We talked each other through it, and we turned it into a positive, and that's why we changed our life. But I still drink beer. I like beer. I drink it with my meals. But the idea is to be able to do what you want and have control over it.
I have this for our listeners. The beginning of this year, I told myself I'm not going to have a drink for at least 6 months. That was the goal that I had set for New Year's resolution, for the New Year's of 2014, because I wanted to make this drastic change. Because at that point, I was, like I had mentioned before, I was drinking every day about 6 to 8 beers on the weekends. I mean, on the weekdays. So for our listeners out there, I'll challenge you into setting a goal. It may not have to be 6 months. It may not have to be 3 months or a month. Right. But just set a small goal where you don't consume alcohol. Maybe for a week, maybe for a weekend, and then see if that can snowball into 2 weeks, right, and then eventually making your way up to a month, right, then to 2 months, and then maybe even 6 months, like I did, and maybe that could snowball into a year. But the point is to make those small changes. We're talking about diet again. It's what we consume. I mean, you've heard my story. You've heard JC's story about his transition from Pepsi to seltzer water. Yeah. Seltzer water is significantly healthier than drinking Pepsi. 2 liters of that stuff.
Day and night, baby. It's day and night. And even if you don't see that even if you feel that alcohol or your alcohol consumption is not affecting your life in any way, it's still good to do certain exercises often to make sure that you do have a hold, right, and control over what you're doing.
That's why I made a suggestion. It's just to gauge yourself, to see where you're at mentally with alcohol, because sometimes people, they're knee deep in addiction and don't even know it. I mean, that's where I was, knee deep, where people were telling me, hey, you got to drink less, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I was like, who the hell are you to be telling me how to live my life? Right. But they had good intentions, and I should have listened earlier. But hey, you live and you learn, and that was at that time I needed to experience that to be the person that I am right now, and I'm happy that I experienced that, and I'm happy that I made those investments, those thousands of dollars spent on drinks to get me where I'm at now.
In other words, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh yeah.
Smash, smash.
Befit Radio.
And there you have it. Who do I sound like? But in all seriousness, you know what the bad stuff is. Don't eat it. Invest in your health. 50% theory, 100% money, baby.
Befit Radio.